because you're doing the picking. It's 01310310310. And so you're using those two forms. You got a different agenda based on those.
Is your dad going to be back?
Well, that's Kathy.
No, I know.
Have you found any accidents? Yeah.
Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We're waiting for that to print.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Is she in the house? No.
I'm doing that shirt for you.
Well, let's go ahead and start. You need to go search on hippie. I call the June 24th, 2013 Southern Common Council meeting to order. We please rise for the invocation that will be given to us by Councilwoman Karen White.
Okay, I ask that you bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you this day, for this is the day that you have made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you for all things. We ask that you guide this council, that we do what you have appointed us to do, that we keep the issues that are before us, that we give them our full consideration, and that we do what our citizens have elected us to do, that we work in harmony and from a collective point of view. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I would like to now have Clerk Brody to please give us the roll.
Mr. Scott, present. Mr. Henry Davis, Mayor here. Mrs. Shea. Here. Dr. Furlick. Dr. Varner.
Present.
Vice President Davis.
Present.
Councilmember White.
Present.
Mr. Furlick.
Here.
And President Dieter. 7 present.
Okay. Before we go to any of our other agenda, we would like to announce the bills that will be continued tonight, so that those who are present do not have to stay for those. We're going to be looking at continuing the bill 1613.
Yes.
Continuing bill 2013. 2213. 2813.
Resolution.
Council Vice President Davis, we are also going to be continuing resolutions number 1341 and 1342.
Okay. 1341 and 1342. Okay. If you have an agenda out there, you can follow along with all of that. So if you came for any of those, particularly, I know it's mentioned about all those other ones, we're going to be dealing with those a little later. Okay. Now we have a report from the subcommittee on minutes.
To the Common Council of the City of South Bend, the subcommittee has inspected the minutes of the June 10, 2013 meeting of the council and found them to be correct. Therefore, we recommend the same be approved. Signed, Derek Dieter, David Varner.
Okay.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Okay, our special business representing the city administration tonight is Catherine Ruth. There she is. That's it. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay. At this time, we will now resolve into the committee of the whole. I'd like to make a motion to move.
Resolve and say false.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's carried.
The committee of the whole is now in session. This is the portion of the council meeting where bills are given a second reading and a public hearing. In addition, you will hear from the chairperson of the committee where the bill was discussed and the results of their discussion. If the proposed ordinance is a zoning ordinance, a report from a staff member of area plan will be given. In all other situations, the formal presentation on the proposed ordinance will immediately follow the committee's report. The formal presentation shall be on time. I do ask that the council members that when the petitioner is before us, that you would only ask questions of the petitioner that pertains to the project that is before the council. Each council member will have ample opportunity to express your concerns, your support, after we have completed the public hearing. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion regarding Bill 16-13.
Move that it be continued until 7/8 request the petitioner.
Second. It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion may hear your vote.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Bill 16-13 will be continued until July 8th as requested by the petitioner. I will now entertain a motion regarding Bill 20-13.
Continue that indefinitely at the request of the petitioner.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion may hear your vote.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Mr. Vorty, will you please give second reading to Bill 21-13?
Public hearing on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the zoning ordinance for approximately 85 acres located at the southeast corner of Sample Street and Prairie Avenue, Councilmanic District 6 in the City of South Bend, Indiana.
Is there a committee report? Mrs. G. your name?
The Zoning Annexation Committee met this afternoon, with Dr. Fred Froelich chairing that, and we bring that Bill 2113 to the full council with favorable report.
Thank you so much. Is there a report from Area Plan?
Kristen Nader with the Area Plan Commission, offices on the 11th floor. This project is commonly known as Ignition Park. It was before the Plan Commission and the Council in 2010. There have been a few changes made to the legal description, and that would be the inclusion of these 4 or 5 lots at the northeast corner. That's the Hamilton Towing Site, that they're shown as GI on this map, and then the exclusion of this piece that is currently zoned PUD that is not covered by this new PUD. And just to give you kind of an update on how things have been progressing out there, that first aerial we had was from 2011, and this is from Google Maps, kind of pieced together some newer aerials. As you can see, all the buildings have been demolished. And here we have a new road that is Ignition Circle running through. This is the Data Realty site that has been, that's a new building that's built there since March 8, 2012 when it got its final approval. Again, this is a view of the site and of the new building. And this is the addition, the Hamilton Towing Site northeast corner. This is a general site plan. This site plan shows very minimal things, just setbacks, road layout, things like that. There is an exhibit that includes all of the uses, setbacks, things like that. That's what we're making the changes to. The changes that are being made are to add the uses of childcare, medical and dental clinic, and hotel, removing the minimum height of the buildings, reducing rear and side setbacks, and changing the way that parking is calculated. Comes to you with a favorable recommendation from the Area Plan Commission. This preserves the overall intent of the Ignition Park development.
Thank you. Council members, do you have any questions of the petitioner? Thank you so much. We'll now move to the public hearing portion. I'm sorry, the petitioner. We do the yes. We ask that you state your name and address, please.
Good evening. I'm Michael DeVita, planner with the City of South Bend's Department of Community Investment, with offices on the 14th floor of this building. I'm here representing the petitioners. To assist developers or property owners in developing Ignition Park, some minor revisions are being made to the existing PUD. The intent of this PUD remains the same for a high-technology park. But as Krista covered, the proposed PUD adds a limited number of uses complementary to high-tech uses, reduces some minimum setbacks, removes the minimum building height requirement, and reduces the minimum parking requirement. The new PUD language reflects fully the master plan finalized in 2012, simplifies the administration of the PUD, and adds the portion of the Hamilton Towing property falling south of Sample Street, which is now owned by the Redevelopment Commission. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions from the council.
Council members, do you have any questions from petitioner? Thank you so much. We'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Bill 21-13? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing is now closed. Council members, what is your pleasure?
Make a motion to move 2113 to full council favorable.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, I hear your vote. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Bill 21-13 will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. Mr. Vorty, will you please give second reading to Bill 27-13?
Public hearing on a bill to vacate the following property. The alley to be vacated is the first east-west alley south of Donmeyer Avenue from the west lot line of Lot 4, Forest Hill Edition, and east lot line of said Lot 4 for a distance of 40 feet and a width of 16 feet.
Is there a committee report?
The Public Works and Property Vacation Committee met this afternoon, and we bring this to the full council favorable report.
Thank you. I see we have the petitioner that's before us. Will you please state your name and address and give us a brief summary of the proposal that's before us?
Yes, Ms. White, I'll be glad to. My name is Jeffrey Curtis, and I'm representing the Livingstone's Church at 718 Don Moyer Avenue in South Bend, 46614. My position as pastor of ministries is an administrative position, and we're requesting the allocation of a plot of land that's 16 by 40 between our property and the property to the north of us that's landlocked on both sides. It's kind of like a no man's land. We're requesting the vacation of that property so that we can square up our fence lines, and we'll be sharing the 16-foot wide allocation with our neighbor to the north. It will take 8 feet, and we'll take 8 feet.
Council members, do you have any questions of the petitioner? Thank you so much. We'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Bill 27-13? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed. Council members?
Move the 27-13 go to the council favorably.
Second.
To move and second it, all those in favor of the motion, may hear your vote. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Bill 27-13 will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. I need to ask our council attorney, has this been accepted as a third set? Okay, Mr. Vorty, would you please give Bill 18-13 a second reading, please?
Public hearing on a bill of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 6 of the South Bend Municipal Code by the inclusion of new Section 6-6-6.6, 6-6.7, and 6-6.8, addressing soils and water table review as required as a part of the permit process.
Thank you. I now entertain a motion to hear the third substitute of Bill 18-13.
So moved.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion may hear your vote. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Is there a committee report?
Yes, Madam Chair. The Public Works and Property Vacation Committee met this afternoon, and we bring the third substitute to the full council in favor of the board.
Thank you. At this time, I believe you are the petitioner. Will you please state your name and address and give a summary of the third substitute bill that's before us?
My name is Oliver Davis. I reside at 1801 Nash Street here in South Bend in the 6th District. And first of all, I would like to thank the other co-sponsors, first of all, Derek Dieter, Karen White, Tim Scott, who joined in with this, and also the council members who came to the different meetings that we held out at the Rum Village area. And this bill came out of the different meetings that we had earlier this year, where different neighbors suggested ideas. Councilwoman White and Councilman Scott shared that we would come together and we'll come up with a bill. And this is the bill that we have worked along with the city administration. I'd like to thank Mayor Pete, Chuck Villo over at the building departments, and all those legal team for helping us put this whole bill together. This has been our third revision, which shows that we have taken the time, thank our attorney, Cassie for us working on this together. Some of the key highlights of Bill 1813. In Section 1, it says, before a permit is issued to build or construct any new dwelling or building within the city, the person submitting the application shall review the Indiana Department of Environmental Management item list of sites with significant water withdrawals or an equivalent of the item list to determine the building or dwelling's proximity to such significant water withdrawal sites, defined as groundwater withdrawals of 100,000 or more gallons per day. Another key point that we'd like to look at is Section B. Upon the Buildings Commission's review of the applicant material required to be submitted, and a constructed site for the building or dwelling is located within 1/4 mile radius around a wellhead where there exists confirmed operations with a significant groundwater withdrawals, defined as 100,000 or more gallons per day, map depicting the wells registering pumps over 100,000 gallons per day in the vicinity of South Bend being maintained in the building department. C, the building commissioners shall also review as part of the building process in addition to the requirements set forth in this chapter. The section that we added, that we talked about this afternoon, is Section 667, the new wells requirement of affected areas. Before a new well is issued in the city, a soils and water table review shall be made to the Director of Public Works. In the section, it also includes areas of influence defined as in chapters 1/4 mile radius around the wellhead. All property owners within the area of influence of any proposed new well shall be notified 30 days of any submission to the city. In the next section, it says the St. Joe County Health Officer and Director of Public Works shall be notified at least 30 days prior to the decommissioning of any water well. I would like to also thank the County Health Department. The County Health Department went out and helped several of the homes that were dealing with issues of problems in their basements as they dealt with that throughout the holiday seasons. And they taught them how to deal with the mold and other issues that were found in the homes. Just whenever a water well has been improperly decommissioned or discontinued for use and does not have a formal and active status, the St. Joe County Health Officer and the Director of Public Works should notify the owner of any cost incurred for such noncompliance. And so, therefore, you have in this bill an attempt to crystallize the different issues that we heard from the neighbors in the meetings that we had on the Rum Village area at the end of last year and the beginning of this year in 2013, along with work from the council and along with work from the city administration. Thank you all for that. And at this time, we present this bill to you.
Council members, do you have any questions of the petitioner? Councilmember Henry Davis.
Sure. So, Councilmember Oliver Davis, this is basically just putting some restrictions in place as it relates to just adding a well to a given area, correct?
Next is adding a well to a given area. It looks at the whole concept of notification. One of the biggest challenges that we've had over in the 6th District in that area is that many of the people have complained that they did not realize that the water tables that were artificially being drawn down due to the new energy site. And so this If you have something like that again in the city of South Bend, whether it's in the 6th, 1st, wherever it is in the district, and that is artificially drawing down the water, and that's taking place, those citizens will be notified about that. They have a responsibility to be notified. You had over there in the area where the water tables, so the groundwater was at 5 feet, but it was artificially being drawn down to where it was 8 feet. So as soon as the pump stopped, the waters came back up, and that's why you had all those issues. So therefore, if this happens in the 1st district, 2nd, 3rd, or whatever, for the different areas, we have maps of all the wells across the city, the area. If it happens that something is artificially drawing down the water, that they will be notified.
Right, and so that was a perfect segue. My next question as relates to this. The ethanol plant situation was a bit of an extreme example, given the amount of gallons of water that was being pumped out per day. It was millions of gallons, what was it, like 1 million gallons per day or something like that? It was in the excess of, if I remember correctly. But neither here nor there, the scale that has been produced is for 100,000 or more. So clearly there was already some sort of like regulations that were set in play in order for people to be notified. My question is that could that extreme example happen in any other place in the city outside of where it happened at?
Well, when you look at it, the maps that were provided to the council, and then what we worked on a couple of years ago, it shows that this area in the state of Indiana has one of the highest groundwater issues. South Bend city of South Bend, it was a water city. They're all over the city that we have different wells and other issues. And if any of those wells got turned off, it could have caused some of those issues. So therefore, as we saw in the 6th district section, there's a well that was right near the Sample Street and Olive area. When that one got turned back on, it helped those who were dealing with the business areas right up there, right up the corner. What's the name of that business? There was a business right there. Cannot come to my mind right now. It'll come in a little bit later, but I'll tell you that. But anyway, but it helps the business right up there. The neighbors said it didn't help them where they were because the drawdown of the water was not good enough to where they were dealing with. And so therefore, we have wells in all over these different places, and the city has control of that. And so therefore, if they're turned off or if they're turned on, this bill will help people to notify those kind of situations. And you alluded to the fact that there was already a bill in place to notify people. There was not, to my knowledge.
I'll say it again, I'm sorry.
You shared in your comments that there was something already put in place to notify people? No, there has, to my knowledge, and I can ask our attorney to share that, this bill would be fresh in that kind of a state. Council, not the party council person, Attorney Sikansky.
That is correct. I think one of the important items that this sets forth is a systematic process of checking all of the St. Clair County soils maps, all of the wetland maps, the floodplains, which are currently regulated through the floodplain Chapter 21, and also the watersheds, because those are all critical. And as Councilmember Davis noted, it's for any building that is going to be a new building or a dwelling located within these specific areas. The other item, if I may, so that the building department has adequate time to do outreach and education, the bill will, if the council votes favorably this evening, it would not become effective until July 15th, so that we can have that outreach.
So one other thing real quick, the Stillwell House, because they're right up the street there on Olive, and so when we turn back on that well, because they were also having water pumps, a lot of their attention got focused all on Prospect and Calvert Street, but their business was also having problems. And so when that well got turned back on, that took that situation off the map. And so, therefore, wells were all over the city, and we asked for that map to be included in there. And so it was not just on the issue of Calvert, but when that well, which was automatically off, sometimes they adjusted, they have some different formula up in public works that they deal with for that matter. And so, in order to alleviate that situation and to help, they turned that well back on. And they fixed it. That covered just that one section, but it was not enough drawdown on it to cover the homes that were down there. And so that's why there's been a proposal that will be coming before us next month to help us have some wells in that area.
So, I think I just lost it at this point. Does the building department, because when this took place, and I remember initial conversations, that when this took place, that this particular issue
was a matter of enforcement or someone making sure they're reading through proper protocol, because there were underground aquifers or still underground aquifers that are in place that led to all this or bringing the water table we're dealing with. So in knowing that, is the department itself staffed correctly or with enough people to make sure that these things won't happen again in that area?
I'm hoping so. You would like to share something on that, Attorney? I don't think so. He spoke this afternoon, and he was all in favor of it, but since he's not here,
I can verify that in the meetings that were held between the city administration as well as legal department and myself, that Mr. Bulow was fully engaged in all of those discussions, and he did not indicate otherwise, that he did not have an extent to go forward.
And we've asked him if he had we requested of him several times that if he had some more concerns. And one reason we've had the third revision is because Mr. Bulow did have some concerns. And so we sometimes before. In the very first one, he did address some concerns when we first did that, because that was printed in the South Bend Tribune that we were not talking together, and so therefore we slowed everything down to make sure that everybody clearly understood that we were there. So we first addressed his concerns. Then we came back again, and then we addressed Mr. Burns' concerns. So therefore, we've addressed Mr. Burns' concerns, we've addressed those concerns. So my concern is that they would have brought that up if they did not have the right staff in place to deal with it, because we asked.
My last question is, and this is just, hinting at what was before us. Upon passage of this, if this passes through tonight, does this provide a solution and a correction to the folks that suffered this tragic incident back in November?
Just the way I look at that answer. Two things. The bill that we had that came before us a few weeks ago addressed that issue in terms of the fact that they had wells coming into the area. And we're going to fund that hopefully in the bill that will be coming up to us in July. And so this council, as we looked from our Public Works Department, took on two issues. We took on the issue, number one, to provide relief to everybody currently. And those currently issued will hopefully, as our Public Works Director, Eric Horvath, said, those wells, we have the funding comes before us in July, the bidding goes out, and by the time we get to October, those wells, hopefully there would be between 1 through 4 wells, depending on the nature of how the drawdown on them. It may only be needing only 2. We may need 3 or we may need all 4, but it's the maximum we think that would be 4. So that will take care of all of the issues out there. There's one home I've been out there where currently the water is still having some problems in the 6th district in that area. So the current pumping of the station has not yet addressed that one home situation. So they're still to this day, right now, having flooding problems. I've been there and I've still seen that. But with the wells in place in October, that situation will be taken care of. So we are putting something in place as a council and as a city administration to take care of everybody who's already out there who is suffering. Secondly, this one helps us to look forward and helps us to make sure that nobody has to go through that. So we are being proactive and at the same time reactive, which is good. We're reacting to something that happened and we're being proactive to something. So these combinations of both of these bills, of what we presented before plus this one tonight, are really the left hand and the right hand joining together to make a good team. All right. Well,
thank you. Well, now, if there's no other questions from council members, we'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Third Substitute Bill 18-13? We ask that you come to the podium, you state your name and address for the record, please.
Jesse Davis, P.O. Box 10205, South Bend, Indiana. I attended a few of the meetings out at Rum Village, and I also had the opportunity to speak with several of the homeowners who were affected throughout the course of this. And the suggestion of the wells that came up, and I just want to kind of let Henry know, when we install septic systems for the county, they have to do a soil test, they have to look at water table maps, they have to look at all that before we can install septic. That's something that's very pertinent when you're building a house too. If that would have been looked at prior to those homes being built, and somebody said, hey, water table's normally 5 foot, so therefore you can't put a full basement underground, it would have solved that issue. So hopefully, from what Oliver said with this bill, they're going to make sure that water tables are addressed through the building department also before buildings are built. So I think this is a great idea, and you guys should pass this.
Okay. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else present wishing to speak in support of this bill? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed. Council members?
I just want to make a comment.
Okay. I'll go straight down to First District Councilmember Tim Scott.
Yes, I'm proud to work with Oliver Davis, Karen White, and Derek Dieter on this bill, and also the city administration and the building department. This came up before utilities when I was chair. I was happy to turn it over to Oliver, and he did a great job leading the issue with new energy, which led to this bill. It was conversations really with Mike Smuel, and the whole idea was, let's make improvements to our city, let's make improvements to our laws that, based on issues that has happened. Led by Oliver Davis, there is a good solution moving forward for Calvert Street and the residents in that area. And the last thing we want to do is repeat that scenario somewhere else. So what this bill allows us to do is look at the history. No one did that at the time when they built those houses. And so many times we saw farmland and people are putting up houses and then this is an after effect. We don't want that to happen going forward. So this bill allows us to look at history going back around those wells or around any industry, what the water table was before they were there. So we have a good understanding, if they do shut down, what that water table will be like in the future. So it is being proactive. It's looking towards the future. It's taking a bad situation and not being able to repeat it. This was a very good collaboration. What it allows us to do is really put the ownership and the due diligence on the building, the builder and the developer to come to the building department and say, here's my information and data. So I think the staffing will be minimal. I think Mr. Buelow is quite happy with the staffing he has and how he handles his data. But it's on the ownership of the builder to come and say, here you go, here's the data, and for them to check it off. We did not want to put the burden on the building department to go out and research all this. If someone wants to build something, they need to come with that data. But honestly, it was good effort by all. I thank everybody for working on this.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis?
Yeah, thank you. The reason why I was asking all those questions is for a point. It was not to make it seem like I was sniping at the bill that's before us. What those folks went through over there in the ethanol plant area, it has to do with one tragic situation that we had to go through. When your house, it goes underwater, literally. And so what I was getting at is that in conversations with folks who are developers, thinking that this will be adding more red tape in there, Mr. Davis Jay Davis just got up from this state a few seconds ago. Those people already asked for it. So as extreme as that situation was, it can happen again. And the reason why it can happen again, minus what's on the books, somebody overlooked what their job was supposed to be prior to saying yes to that development. And that goes that's directly involved with the enforcement of any law that's on the books. So it doesn't matter how many laws that go out on the books. Somebody has to be actively engaged in making sure that those numbers are looking the way they're supposed to in order for those things not to happen. I'm not saying this is a bad piece of legislation. What I am saying is that it could happen again if no one or someone that's in those positions to make sure that these things happen again are actually doing their job. And somebody clearly either dropped the ball, was either paid off when that situation was developed, what have you. But it happened. So I commend you in your efforts, but I really would like to see how will they go about making sure or keeping count of these numbers and making sure that these numbers are in play. And that's not always the case, clearly, because it didn't happen beforehand. And that's why I was asking those questions. It deals with the management of that particular department.
Thank you. Councilmember Shea?
Thank you, Chairwoman.
Okay. Councilmember Carter? Councilman Furley? At this time, we'd like to entertain a motion regarding... Okay. It's been moved...
Need a motion.
Need a motion to accept the third...
We did. But we have to be specific that you're recommending substitute bill 1813 favorably.
Yeah.
I move that third substitute bill 1813 go to the full council with the favor recommendation. Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, I hear your vote.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. The third substitute bill, 18-13, will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. And now I would like to entertain a motion regarding Bill 22-13.
Chairwoman White, I make a motion to continue Bill 2313 until July 22nd. July 8th.
As requested by petition.
As requested by the petitioner.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion that's before us, may I hear your vote?
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Bill 22-13 will be continued until July 8th as requested by the petitioner. Now I would like to entertain a motion regarding Bill 28-13.
Yes.
Chairwoman White, I make a motion to continue Bill 2813 until July 22nd as requested by the petitioners.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, may I hear your vote? Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Bill 28-13 will be continued until July 22nd as requested by the petitioner. Mr. Vorder, will you please give second reading to Bill 29-13?
Public hearing on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 19, Article 61, Section 19-61, subsection A of the South Bend Municipal Code as to limited sale of alcoholic beverages in public parks.
Is there a committee report?
Yes, this came before the park committee this afternoon, and we sent it to the full council with a favor recommendation.
Thank you. We have a petitioner that's before us. We ask that you state your name and address and to give us a brief summary of this bill, please.
My name is Randy Nowacki. I'm the Director of Operations for South Bend Municipal Golf Courses. My office is located at 4016 South Fellow Street, South Bend. I'm here today to request to change the current ordinance to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages at Elbell and Erskine Golf Course only. We currently carry a throughway license and serve only beer and wine. As we are always looking for new ways to enhance revenue on the golf courses and remain self-sustaining. With this proposed change, we have projected sales to increase $20,000 to $25,000 per year. And if the council would have any questions, I think we should begin, sir.
Council members, do you have any questions of the petitioner? None. Thank you so much. We'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak in support of Bill 29-13? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing is now closed. Council members, what is your pleasure?
Move the 2913 go to the council with a favorable recommendation.
If you move and second it, all those in favor of the motion, I hear your vote. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Bill 29-13 will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. We'll now move to Bill 23-13, which I believe has already been accepted as a thought. Mr. Vorder, would you please give second reading to Substitute Bill 23-13, please.
Public hearing on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating the total sum of $34,250 within City General Fund Number 101 for a new employee position and for professional association dues.
Is there a committee report?
Yes, Madam Chair, the Public Works and Property Vacation Committee had a very confusing hearing on 2313. Mr. King, they came with a favorable recommendation. Mr. King will.
Thank you. We'll now ask the petitioner to come before the council and give us a brief summary of Substitute Bill 23-13.
Thank you. I'm George King, Purchasing Manager for the city. My office is on the 12th floor of this building. And just as a quick overview of the reading there, this is a full-time position at 32 hours per week. The title is the diversity compliance officer to be consistent with the current ordinance. The prorated cost, as was mentioned, is really $29,250 for the position, in addition to $5,000 for 2 professional organization memberships that have subject matter expertise, as well as assist in networking with the duties involved. Those professional memberships will be with the Minority Supplier Development Council, as well as the Women's and Business Enterprise Council. And I'd just like to emphasize this is a position of action, not record keeping. We're just trying to be proactive, and I believe this will deliver that proactivity of bringing the diversity businesses together with the city purchasing agents, if you will, or the city purchasing opportunities. We want to broker those relationships, trying to build economic development.
Thank you. Council members, do you have any questions of the petitioner? Okay. Thank you. We'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Substitute Bill 23-13? Anyone present? Is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing is now closed. We'll now move to the council for any comments that you would like to make. I'll start with Councilmember Tim Scott.
No comment, I'm good.
Councilmember Harry Davis.
Yeah, and thank you so much. I've been a bit critical about this particular bill because it adds another position to the city's payroll. And as such, given the history of this particular bill and what it's designed to do from its inception from 1986 to obviously 2011 when it was co-written or rewritten by myself and a couple other council members, nothing has really changed. As a matter of fact, I think more frustration has revealed itself as we head again because folks are frustrated, because people are unemployed, because we are dealing with 12% unemployment rate, because there are so many other things that go into play when we're dealing with such legislation. We all understand, or if we don't understand, a lot of these things are already federally mandated. And for us to continue to say that we are interested in being more friendly to the minority community will suggest that our numbers will look a lot better, or we will have numbers to show that we are doing a lot better. And each time that this conversation comes up, whether it's a new piece of policy or a new position, we come back later on and say we have to retool it, all the while the numbers continue to slip or there's no gain on the numbers. And so even in looking at this particular piece of legislation and how it compares to the city of South Bend, it's kind of difficult to qualify this as being a priority for the city, given the fact that the city itself and its workforce itself is lopsided as it deals with minority employment, given supervisory roles, given this average worker role. And I do have a printout right here where the elected and appointed employees as of December 2012 by gender, ethnicity, and all council members. There shows, obviously, you see what's here in this body. But then you go to full-time employees, whether they're elected or appointed, you're looking at 741 white males versus 188 white females. And then you go to other, you have 6 males who are in other codes, and then 1 female who was described as in the other. You look at the Hispanic population, is 30 males, then there's 9 females. You're looking at black, African American, what have you, males, it looks like it could be a little bit more than 30, it looks like about 40 perhaps, maybe even 50, and it is reduced even more for a black female. The City of South Bend full-time employee at December 31, 2012, and this is a pie chart, 84% are white. 1% is other, Hispanic is 3%, and black is 12%. And what I'm getting at is that if we're interested in growing and doing this as a priority, the numbers that I'm looking at, I'm spinning off right now, and this is not my statistical information, this comes directly from the State Department, then these numbers that we're looking at right now will look a little bit different than what I'm saying. So we have a lot of work to do in order to correct, I guess, some of the fairness as it relates to employment here in the city, and also how we dole out contracts. It's not, and it never will be the equal situation, 50-50, but if the minority community makes up almost close to 50% of this community, the folks that are in the workforce for the city should be a lot higher than 15%. So we have to really look at what we're doing, and I'm not charging anyone with doing anything wrong, but what I am saying is the way we do the business has to change. We have a 12% unemployment rate here in the city of South Bend. It's higher than that, actually. It's like 4 point something. Neither here nor there is higher. It's higher than the state average. It's higher than the national average. When you get into the minority communities, it skyrockets. It's like 2 or 3 times that number. And so when you're dealing with that number, then you look at crime and poverty in those given areas, and obviously job gain is not anywhere to be found. It would suggest that we could potentially help slow those numbers down or pull them down by correcting what's here in the city's law, and also what we do here with this particular position. But we haven't done it. We haven't done it. The evidence is there. We have not done it. So I'm more rather not support this because I know we're not going to do it, because fool me once, fool me twice, shame on me. So what I would like to see is that we almost go back to the drawing board with this particular legislation, and that we adopt the state law, and we work with the outside agency to correct these numbers and make sure folks have an opportunity to get the work that they're looking for, the work that they're qualified to do.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Shea. Okay, Councilmember Varner. Okay, Councilman Davis.
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman White. I would say this: if we vote this bill down right now, it's still not going to add to the minority numbers, because in my conversations that we had a few years ago, the intent of this bill was not in terms of increasing employment within the city of South Bend's official roles. The intent of this bill was to help build businesses in the city of South Bend. That's a different set of issues. One is to help get more minority and women businesses, and then there's another discussion on do we need to increase the minority numbers, whether African American or Latino numbers within the city employment is another separate issue. Those are two separate issues. Do we need to increase the numbers of minority and women in the city of South Bend? The answer to that is yes. And we can look at the numbers as Councilman Davis just sat there and shared a lot of those numbers. Those numbers, I think no one can in any way dispute. But this bill is looking at helping to grow with businesses, the growth of minority and women's businesses. And so that's why today in our discussion, I asked Mr. King, Mr. King, can you come back to us? So we need to just reaffirm with the crowd and share with them on the record a question. Just for one second.
One minute.
Are
you making your comment?
I'm making my comment, but I'm going to share. The part of my comment.
Okay.
A part of my comment today, just to confirm, it was asked about the black women and where they would be rated in terms of Councilwoman White said, not White, Shea wanted a list of women and minorities. So you can track that. You track how many businesses are grown that are minority business, how many women that are businesses are grown that are women. Women businesses and minority businesses. And what did you share with me today?
And I said that is correct. We do track that.
And you track. And how do you track African American women?
Count them both.
Count them both. Thank you. That's all I needed you to share. So therefore, we are tracking this. And I see this as a progression moving forward. This is the first time that we are actually hiring somebody on staff, in the staff, to monitor the growth of minority businesses and the growth of women businesses. And in the case of of African Americans and women, they get counted both times, and that's if they are double the minority, not only here but across the nation. So we are moving forward, and I think this bill, with the triennial group that we've had, is the outside force that's working. And I would agree with anybody who says I expected more of that myself. But we are better off with this bill and helping to deal with minority and women businesses by passing it and keeping the pressure on us as a council, keeping the pressure on the administration as an executive body, and on our community to look at that. And so I'm all in favor of this bill because it moves us forward. Anything that helps us to move forward in then having more minority businesses in the city of South Bend with the diversity that we have here, that includes African American businesses, that includes the Latino businesses, that's all the different diversity businesses. Anything that helps us with that is great. Anything that helps us with improving women businesses in the city of South Bend is great. And so that's the nature of this bill. That's why I'm glad for us to have a person in staff to be able to monitor that. Mr. King has talked about they're going to do that, and I'm glad that we're going to move forward.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeland. We'll now entertain a motion regarding Substitute Bill 23-13. Sorry.
I make a motion for the favorable, I make a motion to send Bill 2313.
Substitute Bill
2313 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, may I hear your vote?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
This bill, Substitute Bill 23-13, will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. Mr. Vorty, will you please give second reading to Substitute Bill 24-13?
Public hearing on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the maximum salary and wages of certain non-bargaining employees of the City of South Bend for the calendar year 2013.
For a committee report.
Yes, Madam Chair. For purposes of public hearing, can we hear these together? Since
23 and 24 could have been heard together.
But not 25.
2413 had a public hearing in Personnel and Finance and Comes Council with favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Do we have a petitioner? We do ask you to state your name and address and to give us a summary of Substitute Bill 24-13.
Mark Neal, City Controller with offices on the 12th floor of this building. Substitute Bill 24-13 is a complementary to Bill 23-13, in which we're setting the salary for the Diversity Compliance Officer position, annual salary of $41,600 based on a 32-hour work week at $25 per hour.
Are there any questions? Council members, you have a petitioner. Thank you. We'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak to Substitute Bill 24-13? If so, we ask that you come to the podium. Okay. Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed. Council members, what is your pleasure regarding Substitute Bill 24-13?
Was there help inside of that salary numbers?
Okay. It's in...
No, the first one was the
appropriation.
I'm aware of that.
Appropriation of the...
I'm aware of that, but are they eligible for health benefits?
Yes, it is considered full-time. Okay, is there a motion?
Senate 2413, favorable.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion may hear your vote. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries. Substitute Bill 24-13 will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. Now, Mr. Gordy, will you please give second reading to Bill 25-13?
Public hearing on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the maximum salary and wages of certain non-bargaining employees of the City of South Bend, Indiana for calendar year 2013.
I'm going to ask our council attorney to read the amendment version, which we would have to take action on.
There is a bill on file, so the motion would be to accept the substitute bill on file of the system.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion as read, may I hear your vote?
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Is there a committee report?
Yes, the the Personnel Finance Committee had a public hearing on Bill 2513 this afternoon. Comes council for favorable recommendation.
Do we have a petitioner?
Mark Neal, City Controller. There'll actually be two of us speaking on petitioning for Substitute Bill 25-13. The substitute bill before you reflects an amendment in which we are requesting that the salary of the zoo veterinarian be increased to a maximum not to exceed $83,000. The basis for that change is that recommended salary level is consistent with AZA guidelines as we looked at their 2012 salary levels, and this would be a salary that would be approximately the mean and median, just below the mean and median salaries of 10 other AZA-approved institutions throughout the Midwest. The purpose of us bringing it forward today is that as we look to the operations of the zoo and recognize the quality of life that our zoo, Potawatomi Zoo, is for the benefit of all citizens of South Bend as well as those who come to visit our city. It's important that we are able to attract and keep high-quality professionals that can allow us to run a first-class zoo operation. There's been a great deal of discussion as the city looks to a public-private partnership, recognizing the endorsement that the council has provided at the last council meeting. To see if there can be a way that the city can work more collaboratively with the Zoological Society to see that we can offer, again, an even better experience for those who attend and visit our Potawatomi Zoo. And I like Laura Arriaga, the interim director, as well as talk about the veterinary position.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Laura Arriaga. I am the interim zoo director. My office is located at 500 South Fremont Avenue. And I am looking for a vote in favor of the salary increase for a staff veterinarian. In my 18 years of employment at the zoo, we have seen 6 veterinarians come and go, looking to hire our 7th, and we believe that the low salary is the main issue. It was also noted in our 2009 accreditation inspection that the veterinarian salary was low, and that will be an issue as we look toward accreditation in 2014. Again, to echo Mr. Neal's words, we need to retain this key position for the long term and remain competitive and attract experienced candidates.
Thank you so much. Yes, Councilman Davis. Okay, you have a question? Of the petitioner? Yes. Okay, which one?
Whichever one would it be. Could you talk about the marketing of this position, since we are really in a time frame given the fact that we have accreditation issues coming up next year? And what is the plan to, if this is passed tonight, what is the plan to move forward in giving a veterinarian in as soon as possible at the highest quality level that you thought of, given the fact that we've had this challenge in the past?
Typically, when we advertise these positions, we advertise through ACA and also the AAZB, which is the American Association of Zoo Veterinarians. Okay. So I will post the position on those 2 websites.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Okay. I think before you go back to your seat, I think the other part of the question was the time frame from the point that the position would be advertised to the point that hopefully we would have selected a new person in this position.
As soon as it's approved, I will work with Jan Hall and get the ball rolling right away.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Neal?
I think I agree with Ms. Arriaga that we certainly want to fill the position as quickly as possible. I think practically speaking, including advertising, probably within a 2 to 4 week period to do the advertising and see resumes. We look to work through those as quickly as possible and look to select the candidate. We're looking to work collaboratively with a group within the city administration as well as the Zoological Society participating with us in that process.
Okay. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions that council members may have of petitioners? Seeing that, we'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Substitute Bill 25-13? Anyone wishing to speak in support? We do ask that you come to the podium. State your name and address, please.
I'm Patricia Senters. I'm the office manager at Potawatomi Zoo. 308 Walnut Street, Osceola is my address. I've been at the Duke for almost 24 years. I have, the next vet will be the 7th one that I have seen. After thinking about it, the first 5 years, we did not have a vet that was contracted out. So we're looking at 19 years and going on 7 vets. The salary has been the main reason why a lot of folks they come, get their experience, and then they go off to other years and make more money. So they're getting the experience before they move on. I would like to see this passed. Hopefully we can retain these people here for our next vet so that basically they'll stay. So I hope it's
okay. Thank you for your comment. Anyone else wishing to speak in support of Substitute Bill 25-13?
Thank you very much. Trevor Gasper, office at 4100 Edison Parkway, Mishawaka, Indiana. I currently serve as the Vice President of the Potawatomi Zoological Society in that capacity that I addressed today. We are in support of this amended bill, we being the society. One of the things I've noted in my 3 years on the zoo board, when you talk about the salaries that we offer for professional positions such as a veterinarian, which requires extensive experience and education, oftentimes that comes with all loans, is that you're almost met with laughter when you discuss what that salary is. And I think that this increase is important to attract talent and to retain that talent in this area. I think that the retention is the key to being able to grow that position as a zoo. I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in support? Seeing no one, will now go to those who may be present who wish to speak in opposition. Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed. Council members, what is your pleasure?
I will comment.
Okay, I'll start from Councilmember Furley. Councilmember Davis.
I'm in full support of this bill. I would hope, I don't know if it's possible later on or some way, that the next vet could sign some kind of contract, at least a 2 or 3 year minimum contract, because you brought up 2 issues that I've heard tonight. One, I've heard salary, and we can compete in that area. But as soon as somebody would say it's $83,000, okay, so we thought somebody else offers $88,000, then they're gone. And we run into the 8th and the 9th and the 10th. And so I'm hoping that as the administration does their hiring practices and everything else, that there could be some strong consideration of some type of contract that's put in place. You all know what you're looking for. It was a 3-year deal, a 5-year deal, or some kind of legal language that y'all, the attorneys and everybody else can talk about. So that's my hope, because then that covers everything in one shot, the salary and the retention for skills to lose and stability. So hopefully you all, I'm sure, are discussing that, and if not, please discuss it. And so that's my concern for tonight.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from council members?
No, I support what Councilman Davis just put out there. I think that will be very helpful to retaining the talent they're looking for. So.
Thank you. Now I entertain a motion regarding Substitute Bill 25-13.
Make a motion to send Substitute Bill 25-13 to the full council with favorable recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, I hear your vote. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Substitute Bill 25-13 will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. I will now entertain a motion to rise from the committee as a whole and report back to the full council.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, I hear your vote. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries.
We'll pause in action for a few seconds so Councilman Scott can hear a little bit.
You should vote good committee. Third
We
reading.
went to a resolution.
You can go to third reading.
Keep going. Can you just go from over there?
We're good.
Okay, we're good. All right, thank you. I understand. All council is now back in sessions. Mr. Wardy, could you read bill number 2113?
Third reading on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the zoning ordinance for approximately 85 acres located at the southeast corner of Sample Street and Prairie Avenue, Councilmanic District 6, in the City of South Bend, Indiana.
Reverse. Committee schedule? Council.
We need a motion to hear that.
Pardon me?
Motion to hear that.
Motion passed. Mr. Reddy. You need a second. Second. Okay. Mr. Reddy, now.
All those in favor, you vote aye.
Mr. Scott?
Roll call.
Aye. Mr. Henry Davis? Aye. Mrs. Shea?
Aye.
Dr. Bunner?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Mr. Furlick?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
We have 7 ayes.
Thank you, sir. Could you read bill 2713, Mr. Reddy?
Third reading on a bill to vacate the following property. The alley to be vacated is the first east-west alley south of Downmeyer Avenue from the west lot line of Lot 4, Forest Hill Addition, and east lot line of said Lot 4 for a distance of 40 feet and a width of 16 feet.
Move for passage of bill 27-13.
Second. Thank you. Mr. Reddy?
Mr. Henry Davis?
Aye.
Mrs. Shea?
Aye.
Dr. Bunner?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Mr. Furlick?
Aye.
Mr. Scott? Aye. And Vice President Davis?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Thank you. Can you read bill number 18, amended version 1813? Is that third amended version or just?
Third reading on a bill of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 6 of the South Bend Municipal Code by the inclusion of the new Section 6-6.6, 6-6.7, and 6-6.8, addressing soils and water table review, required as a part of the permit process.
Need a motion to amend this election committee as a whole?
So moved.
Second.
Hey, Mr. Reddy, will you please step forward?
Move for the passage of...
You need to vote on that.
It was what? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Just carried. Now,
Move for the passage of 1813 as amended.
Second.
okay. Mr. Reddy?
Mrs. Shea?
Aye.
Dr. Bunner?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Mr. Furlick?
Aye.
Mr. Scott? Aye. Mr. Henry Davis? And Vice President Oliver?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Thank you. Mr. Reddy, now can you read bill number 2913?
Yes. Third reading on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 19, Article 61, Section 19-61A of the South Bend Municipal Code as to limited sale of alcoholic beverages in public parks.
Move for the passage of bill 29-13.
Second. Mr. Reddy?
Dr. Bunner?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Mr. Furlick?
Aye.
Mr. Scott? Aye. Mr. Henry Davis?
Aye.
Mrs. Shea?
Aye.
And Vice President Oliver Davis?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Thank you. Now can you read bill number 2313?
Third reading on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating the total sum of $34,250 within the City General Fund, number 101, for a new employee position and for professional association dues.
A motion to amend this election committee as a whole?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's carried. Now, Mr. Reddy?
Motion to pass as amended?
So moved.
Second. Now, Mr. Woody.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Mr. Furlick?
Aye.
Mr. Scott? Aye. Mr. Henry Davis?
Nay.
Mrs. Shea?
Aye.
Dr. Varner?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
The vote is 6-1.
Thank you. Now, can you read Bill 2413?
Third reading on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the maximum salary and wages of certain non-bargaining employees of the City of South Bend, Indiana for calendar year 2013.
Motion to amend as it was in the committee of the whole.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It is carried. Now,
Motion to pass as amended.
Second.
so moved. Okay? All in favor, say...
No.
Okay, now, here we go.
Councilmember
Why
White?
did you give it here tonight?
Aye.
Mr. Furley?
Aye.
Mr. Scott? Aye. Mr. Henry Davis?
Nay.
Mrs. Shea?
Aye.
Dr. Varner?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
Passes by a vote of 6-1.
And one more. Bill 2513.
Third reading on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the maximum salary and wages of certain non-bargaining employees of the City of South Bend, Indiana for calendar year 2013.
Motion to amend as it was in the committee of the whole.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Same side. It is carried.
Motion to pass as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Now, Mr. Williams.
Mr. Furley?
Aye.
Mr. Scott? Aye. Mr. Henry Davis? Mrs. Shea?
Aye.
Dr. Varner?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
The vote is 7-2.
Now we're moving to our resolution.
Resolution 1340.
Before you read Resolution 1340, Chairwoman White, could you lead up?
Okay.
You can just read.
Okay, wait for that. Mr. Gordon, would you please read Resolution 13-40, please?
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, recommending the establishment of a 5-year action plan for the revitalization and preservation of the historic city cemetery.
Is there a committee report?
Yes. Okay. The Community Relations Committee met this afternoon, and we bring Bill 1340 to the full council with a favorable report.
At this time, you are the petitioner. Will you please give us a summary of Resolution-1340, please?
Thank you. My name is Oliver Davis, live at 1801 Nash Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46613, and proudly stand before you as a part of a lot of concerned citizens who are encouraging us as a council to really take a high priority with the South Bend City Cemetery located at 214 Elm Street. Just a couple of this resolutions, which I will not read in its entirety because it's several pages, but a couple of the key parts that I'd like to share. Just whereas the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, acknowledges that the South Bend founders Alex O'Kelly and Lake Charles Kelly donated the land which became South Bend's oldest cemetery, located just west of downtown on LaPorte Avenue along the north and its main entrance at Elm Street, which is today located just outside the northwest of the West Washington National Register District. And whereas the Common Council notes that the first recorded burial was Peter Brewer, a Revolutionary War veteran in 1831, followed by burials of prominent African-American families such as the Bryants and the Powells, with this cemetery being notable for never being segregated. And whereas City Cemetery has grown to be the home of approximately 14,800 final resting places on its 21.36 acres, with the historical and ornate entry gates being erected in 1899. And whereas William G. George, South Bend's first mayor, James and Mary McKinley, the paternal grandparents of President McKinley, who both died of fibroid fever on their 43rd wedding anniversary on August 20, 1847, John Otton,
the first soldier from St. Joe County to be killed in the Civil War in 1861. Norman Eddy, who was a U.S. congressman and served as a colonel in the Union Army during the Civil War, who died in 1872. South Bend police officer Lewis Keller, who was killed in 1898 during a robbery of a store in Washington Street. Congressional Medal of Honor recipient Private Enoch Weiss, who served in the U.S. Army in Company G, 1st U.S. Cavalry, who died in 1917. South Bend police officer Howard Wagner, who was killed at the age of 29 by John Diligent's gang during the robbery of downtown Merchant Bank in 1934, and Scarlett Colfax, who served as Speaker of the House of Representatives from 1863 to 1869, and served as a country as the 17th Vice President of the United States from 1859 to 1873 under President U.S. Ulysses S. Grant. I just saw of the thousands of individuals buried in this historic city cemetery, along with the many infants who died from teething, consumption, whooping cough, scarlet fever, and measles. So as we see, we have a historical cemetery here that is shared. At this time, we have a part of our presentation, so I'd like to have that. Go ahead and share from the Parks Department. You can share your name and just a few comments regarding our South Bend Cemetery.
Do I need a microphone or?
I think maybe turned on. You might have turned on.
Mic check.
It was not turned on. Mine, can you turn it on? Are you on?
Yeah, hi. I'm
Clerk Woody, there's some information for the council.
Alicia Fiesel with the Historic Preservation Commission of South Bend and St. Joseph County, and my office is at 125 South Lafayette, Johnson Street, on the County City Building. And thank you, Council, for allowing me some time to give some history of the cemetery and to catch you up to speed with the volunteer hours that we've put in the last few years. So, as Albert said, this is South Bend's oldest municipal cemetery, city cemetery. It's a 21-acre designed landscape founded in 1832. This one has been city-owned from the beginning. This view at Elm Street is just after construction of the gate in 1899. Prior to the iron fence in 1910, you'll notice the wood picket. Brick pavers have yet to be installed as of this snapshot. City Cemetery was founded on land donated by South Bend's founders, Alexis Willard and Lathrop Taylor, shown here in an 1866 bird's eye view. In this 1890 bird's eye view, a visit to City Cemetery provides an enlightening glimpse into the history of South Bend. Studebakers, Bertzels, and many others rest under markers thought equal in size to their contribution to the community. Smaller markers bearing foreign names, carved in their native German and Polish, trace the important immigrant populations that helped to build South Bend. City Cemetery is the burial spot of important South Bend residents, including Pharaoh and Rebecca Powell, along with many descendants of the William Bryant family. Vice President Skylar Colfax, town founder Lathrop Taylor, William G. George, the first mayor of South Bend, President McKinley's grandparents, and families such as the Studebakers, and veterans from all major conflicts. As Albert said, City Cemetery was never segregated, as was common practice throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, not only for race, but for religious practices and cause of death, including suicide. Alexis Willard's Kankakee Mill Race of 1835 is a notable resource of the cemetery. Although the mill race is now filled, this bridge stands as the only reminder in the city of this failed venture, the only visible reminder. Southwest side of the bridge are veterans' graves. This 182-year-old cemetery has seen better days. In addition to aging stones, falling tree limbs that may wipe out an entire row of stones, and Godzilla the giant groundhog, which burrows underneath the stones and compromises the soil integrity. A most concerning issue right now is vandalism. Through increased security and public education, we have been working to get it under control, but there's much more to do before the stones are no longer threatened by human disregard. My hand model, Steve Nimitz. Through a partnership with Parks Department, Historic Preservation Commission, Engineering, Notre Dame, and an army of volunteers, we have been digitizing the records of both city and Bowman cemeteries, the two cemeteries that are owned by South Bend. So far to date, 20,000 of these index cards have been scanned. The data from the 20,000 cards has been typed into two very large spreadsheets, one for Bowman, one for City. This is an example of one many pages. Is that not normal?
No, that's not normal.
This building is old enough for you to feel comfortable.
That's not normal. Sounds like it's a wind.
So there must be some awful wind outside.
Yeah, it's a wind outside.
This storming? Okay.
Okay. Notre Dame Conservation Lab removed active mold from 4 100-year-old ledger books, and Notre Dame Architecture Library has digitized each page in each book. Notre Dame Architecture Library has also digitized the 5 oversized 100-year-old maps that used to hang on the walls at the Sexton Cottage at City Cemetery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm serious, huh?
I'm not nervous before all of you, I'm nervous. City Engineering is building interactive maps for City and Bowman cemeteries, in which they will merge all of the digitized recorded data. Anyone with internet will have access to the records and will be able to search them by name, date of death, or service affiliation. Volunteers, including student interns, have also developed maps for the 2 veteran sections, never before documented as such. We have clocked over 1,300 volunteer hours so far and intend to shift the role of our volunteer army from paperwork preservation to making physical improvements with the help of the Common Council. Please note that we have received support and encouragement from both the Park Board and the Park Foundation. And thank you, council members, for considering the establishment of a 5-year action plan for the revitalization and preservation of Elton City Cemetery. And for the next few minutes, please welcome Jonathan Giels, who will be revealing a vision for what City Cemetery can become for South Bend. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jonathan Giels, residence 1862 North Adams Street here in South Bend. Alicia and the Historic Preservation, as well as the Parks Department, contacted me to help provide a vision, a conceptual vision for the city cemetery, a plan that is very near and dear to me. I think it's worth noting that the city cemetery was established 33 years before the city became a city in 1865, and I consider it to be South Bend's first park. 80 years before the development of our Parks and Boulevard plan. With that in mind, the vision that we had sought to establish was one that would increase safety, improve visibility, develop a more pedestrian-friendly environment, make contextual connections. We talked about connecting to the adjacent Washington historic corridor, highlight the history of the cemetery. Indeed, it is South Bend's history, not just a cemetery, and utilize established historic lexicon. In other words, taking advantage of the character that's there. And in short, what we'd like to do is have a design that should have always been there to celebrate the city cemetery, and one that looks like it always has been.
Thank you. As you can see, that was the handout that was given to us. I'll close this part of it by again reiterating that we have looking at a 5-year plan where we can come back, and wanted to say on our website, and this is free, this is being part of the information, the preservation assessment of the City Cemetery, South Bend, Indiana. This was done several years ago in 2009, and so it also goes along with some of the materials that we're looking at to upgrade and keep respect for our city cemetery. I really believe that when we have tours of the city, as it was suggested earlier, when whether our elementary schools, high schools, colleges, our Chamber of Commerce, when people come to visit our universities, Indiana University, Notre Dame, and all the other universities, that a part of those tours would include our city cemetery. and we need to make sure that the housing and all the land around that reflects something that we are proud of. City Attorney, along with Councilman Fred Furlick and Councilwoman Karen White, and I were at the City Cemetery on Vice President Skylar Kofak's birthday back in March the 23rd of this year. And so we really took a first-hand look at that. I was out there again today, saw the work of the groundhog that you talked about. Oh, yeah. Yes, and Godzilla the groundhog and what he has done. And so we need to make sure that those kind of things are working. So we are good, and thank you for this time.
Thank you as well. Council members, do you have any questions of the petitioner? I'm going to start. Councilman Scott, any questions? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Councilmember Davis?
I have a comment as well, so I can...
Okay. Councilmember Shea, any questions?
Yes, I do. In regards to the adoption of this resolution, I just want to be very clear. The plan that Jonathan prepared for us has an anticipated budget of $902,000. And yes, $900,000. The adoption of this resolution does not. How would that funding exist through the general fund?
No, it's not funded.
What we have I'm glad you raised that question because we're not brief talking today. I think when you look at a 5-year plan, first of all, the 5-year plan is the major issue that we're looking at tonight. Over those 5 years, we're going to be looking at all this types of plans in terms of people from the Daughters of Revolution coming up with the different suggestions that they have shared with us. There are different groups in town. The Masonic groups have talked to us and sent different letters because of the role of people there. As we saw today, we have people who have heard today another man's taking care of one of the areas, okay, because of their background with the military. So you're finding different people who are attached to different parts and different aspects who will be bringing us plans. So I believe that would be something that they would consider. I can almost guarantee you that, all of that kind of money you're talking about there would have a whole nother long discussion. But tonight, our big goal is the 5-year plan, so we can put into place the highlight of everything of it. So the presentation of something that he's looked at is something that shows us the vision of where we can go.
So for the record, the council adopts this resolution.
It does not
It's
affect
an entirely separate issue from the funding. Okay.
Councilmember Vaughn, any questions? Any questions?
No, ma'am. I think that this has been discussed in the background for years. Something needs to be done at the cemeteries for years. We've always wondered how the Parks Department has gotten by on a budget as small as it is, and so I think whoever got the ball rolling, however it got started, is a good thing, and I think you'll find a lot of support for it.
Councilman Clark? Okay, thank you so much, and we'll now move to the public hearing portion. Anyone present wishing to speak in support of Resolution 13-40, we do ask you to come before the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Alma Powell, and I'm presently serving as interim director of the Indiana University South Bend Civil Rights Heritage Center. And so pleased to be here and speak with the council about this very important project and tell you a little bit about a project that Indiana University South Bend is taking on that involves the city cemetery. We have an African American landmark tour that will go through 17 sites in the city of South Bend, and we are just elated at the fact or the potential that the city cemetery would be a very attractive site. The reason we are embarking on the landmark tour is because we're proud of South Bend and its history of civil rights. As you look at activities and things that went on in the city of South Bend, and you look at the nation in terms of civil rights history, you compare us with what went on in the 60s and the 70s in the nation, but think about South Bend. And again, as Councilman Davis has alluded to, the fact that our cemetery, the city cemetery, never opened up as a segregated facility. So that's where you have a Pharaoh Powell, who was the first African-American resident in South Bend, buried right along beside Skylar Colfax, who many of you have seen the recent movie, but certainly a very integral piece in the passing of the 13th Amendment. So the city cemetery, along with the England Natatorium, that was desegregated in 1932, along with Central High School, Robertson's Department Store, which was the first store in this area that allowed African Americans to try on clothing or to even work in that facility. So again, we're just real happy of the potential and the support of the resolution to have the city cemetery, along with the other outstanding places in our community, be a place of pride when people come in town to take our tour as well as other tours that are going on in the city. So I just wanted that opportunity to say thank you for that, for the passing, hopefully, of the resolution.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anyone else present wishing to speak in support of Resolution -1314? We ask that you come to the podium at this time. State your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Carol Nichols, 30164 County Road 22, Belford, Indiana, 46517. I represent the Schuyler Colfax chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution. First of all, I want to thank the Common Council for enacting the Schuyler Colfax Day on March 23rd of this year. We were in attendance with several members, and because of that, I was able to get in contact with Oliver Davis, and I rediscovered and revised a resolution I wrote back in 2009 when I discovered a newspaper clipping dated October 28, 1941, for the care of the certain lots of City Cemetery of South Bend. And back then, they set aside X amount of dollars, I'm not quite sure how much, for the care of these cemetery sites of Schuyler Colfax, John Otten, Lathrop Taylor, James and Mary McKinley, John Otten, and 3 other veterans from the Civil War. Now, back then I don't know what happened to the money. I don't even know if it's still in an account. But I'd like to see somebody find out where it's at. I understand from Mr. Davis that he said there's $40,000 earmarked for a city cemetery? No?
There's $25,000 right now in the City Cemetery Trust that's been sitting there
for years,
as long as I can remember. And it's never changed.
Oh, okay. So they must have spent whatever money they had back in 1941.
We don't know.
Okay.
That's the trust. So I think
okay, I met with Council Member Oliver Davis a few weeks ago, and he asked me about what I expected from the city cemetery, from the Common Council. And, of course, I mentioned this afternoon that toppled stones would be righted and fixed, broken headstones cemented back together, braced, bushes, shrubs, whatever, and trees and dead limbs. Now, back in, I think it was 2009, I worked with Dukem Center for volunteers to help clean up the cemetery, and we did it for 2 summers every weekend from May to November. And we did quite a bit of work. And then things happened, illnesses and stuff, and so I couldn't do it anymore. And then, of course, the heat drove me away. But I would like to see a sign posted at the gate and at the walk-in where there's absolutely not allowed skateboards or rollerblades, motorcycles, bicycles, cats, loitering, littering, smoking, and alcohol and vandalism. And I'd like to see these violators be prosecuted. Now, I don't know what's on the books for cemeteries, but this cemetery is very historic. We have to preserve it. And I really, really do appreciate all you've done. And he sent me this copy of Bill number 1340, and it outlines everything that needs to be done at the city cemetery. And I personally hope that these recommendations are approved, and I wish to thank the Common Council for all your efforts to improve the city. And also I want to thank Steve Nemeth and Alicia for all their help. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else present wishes to speak in support? We do ask that anyone that would like to speak in support, you come to the podium now.
Steve Nemeth, 5214 West South Rights Out. I'm supervisor of maintenance at Southwood Partners, in charge of the cemeteries. And We, with very limited funds, have been trying to put stone, and grounds look great, but we have a lot of trouble with the stones. We had a lot of vandalism last year. When Oliver came out and some of the other council members came out for the Scarlet Colfax Day and kind of got a look at it, and we all got to talking, and this is the result of it, and I'm very excited about this, to get the council's support and get the ball rolling and getting the really heavy lifting done. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Is there anyone present wishing to speak again in favor? We do ask that you come to the podium.
Elisha Fiesel, 125 South Lafayette. And I just wanted to address Valerie Shea earlier with the budget, the number that we gave. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea because we had a long discussion with the Parks Department, and the additions added up to that number of $900,000. But
it's a good idea to always tell us up front. Don't feel bad.
I think so, yeah. Right, and actually, then I guess I'll let you know this, that doesn't include stone repair. And that doesn't include stone repair for a reason. I really think that that cemetery needs to have some positive traffic through it before anything can be done about the stones. For the simple reason, anything that you put up will come back down. It's like a domino effect out there. These people who are knocking them down can't just walk up and knock the stone down. They have to go stone to stone to stone before they jump out the fence at the other side. And so I wanted to speak to that point, and the Parks Foundation is put in place to raise funds for the parks. And one of their last major projects was the conservatories and the greenhouses at Potawatomi. And we've seen what that's led to. So I'm very confident that I've got their full support behind the presentations I've given to them about City Cemetery. And I know for a fact that the Park Foundation is planning an endowment program right now for City Cemetery, and they're also planning a fundraising website where people can make donations. So in addition to any of the dollars that the city might spend on repairing its cemetery, or any of the dollars that private citizens or organizations might spend, I intend to shift this paperwork preservation that I've been doing for the last 3 years to physical labor. I mean, I'm kind of a get out there and do it type of person, but I really felt that we needed to get the records under control before we got out there and got our hands dirty. So really I've been comfortable with the kind of hibernating state of my volunteers right now, where we're just really doing paperwork, but I can promise that when there's a dollar put forward, we're probably going to match that with volunteer hours. I mean, 1,300 hours from volunteer labor for doing paperwork, and these people are beating on my door for more work. So, and I have other people on a list just waiting to get out there and do cemetery preservation. So I can assure you that any dollar spent will be well spent, and it will be matched with in-kind donations.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Christopher Huff, 1831 College Street, South Bend. 33 years ago, there was a lot of concern about the condition of City Cemetery, to the fact, or to the extent that it was written up in the South Bend Tribune. Some of you may actually remember those efforts a long time ago. From my memory, one of the things that positive that did occur at City Cemetery was the construction or the establishment of the guardrail along the south side of LaPorte Avenue, so that the folks who drive along LaPorte Avenue weren't throwing out control and destroying that 150-year-old iron fence. I had not been in that cemetery in years until I happened to meet Alicia about 2 weeks ago. So I decided to go out there and take a look at it. Nothing has changed. If anything, it's gotten far worse than it was 33 years ago. This was an embarrassment to my home community. I'm embarrassed for part of the amazing patrimony that this city has of its history, but not just of the city history, but of the patrimony of this nation. From whatever perspective you look at that city cemetery from, be it race, or business, or politics, that is extraordinary. I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. The 3 communities that I've worked for in the past would give their IT, figuratively, of course, they have something like that. They have that type of a resource in their community so that they can sell it. This is an embarrassment, and I'm really disappointed. But I am very much in favor of this resolution. I'm not necessarily in favor of putting together a large public funding scheme to pay for it. What I would like to see is the city explore expansion of that cemetery all the way to the to the east right-of-way line of Walnut Street, to the north right-of-way line of Colfax Avenue, possibly to the north right-of-way line of what I call the LaSalle Avenue extension, and to the east, the west property line of LaPorte Avenue on the east side. Expanding that cemetery out, for what reason? To clear what is sadly total garbage, or almost completely garbage houses in that neighborhood. 17 of which are vacant right now. I counted them. 17 are vacant right now. Probably all but the two on the corner of LaPorte Avenue and Walnut Street, those could be picked up and moved and transplanted into a stable neighborhood. The Habitat for Humanity houses could be picked up and moved and perhaps those four along the LaSalle extension. And then expand that cemetery into those vacant areas. Vacate that entire land area and replat it for new cemetery plots. Nice possibility of income stream coming into a dedicated endowment for payment, for restoration and restructuring of that entire facility out there. So I think this is something that really needs to be looked at. I don't remember how much we paid for my father's burial plot, but it was probably at least $1,000. If you can get 90 burial plots out of each of those 50 or so lots bordering this cemetery, that could be about $3.5 million, just using my simple calculation. Now, the other part of this is that there's been a lot of bantering lately about 1,000 houses in 1,000 days. Again, half those houses are vacant already and ready to fall apart. Let's do this strategically, use some of our money, some of our public money that we're going to tear out houses, get this thing reattached to the neighborhood, and there you go.
Thank you.
So, long time coming. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present at this time wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one, the public hearing portion is now closed. I'll go down for council comments. Councilmember, City Clerk, Attorney.
Councilmember Oliver Davis and myself are also in contact with our federal elected officials also in light of Vice President being there to see if there's any funds that are available.
Great. Appreciate that.
That's the key thing with them. The federal funds that we hope that can go along with that. I would like to just say, that our Parks Director, Phil St. Clair, came to me this afternoon with some similar comments about widening it. Thank you. That's why he probably shared it with me today, because of the fact that that was a nice idea that in our 5-year plan, let's look at those kind of concepts. That was not all here yet, but I'm encouraging those kind of thoughts because that is great potential reuse of funds.
Thank you. Councilman Froelich, any comments?
Well, no.
Okay. Councilman Warner?
No, ma'am.
Councilman Froelich?
Right now, thank you.
Councilman Shea? Councilmember Davis?
Yes, and thank you. I think it was an awesome presentation. I think the idea of doing some collaborative work with the city cemetery obviously is necessary due to the funds that could be available, may be available, or not be available to the city trust. What I would implore the group that has started this ball on this momentum to correct some of the issues that are out there, and also to put together this 5-year plan, is to incorporate folks that are from the neighborhood in the second district, the district that I actually represent. And there's a strong neighborhood organization that meets over there at St. Paul Methodist Church on the third Tuesday or second Tuesday of the month. And they're extremely active during the course of the year in doing things within their neighborhood, which is a part of their neighborhood. This particular cemetery is sentimental value to me because my grandma's backyard actually was a cemetery. And there's some of the times we remember a lot of bats, coming in at night because it's like a big, huge oak tree back there. My grandfather actually is also buried at a particular cemetery, so I am very familiar with the cemetery and its aspects and also what happens. But when we're doing planning, we all do know and have been down this course, if the community that is surrounded that particular area is not involved, it doesn't work. You can pump as much dollars as you want to inside that area, but those folks who are living in that area are not taking hold to the investment that's going in. It goes back to its original form, in the very near future. So, again, there is the near West Side Neighborhood Association. There's also the LaSalle Park Neighborhood, Kennedy Park Neighborhood Association as well that participates, in developing plans for those particular areas. As a councilman for the area, I will also implore you to include me in your dialogue as well, because I know there's folks in that area. I'm not going to entertain the thoughts about how we can knock down more houses, because the city cemetery will never pay out any taxes. It doesn't work like that. But what does happen is that we have a proper and appropriate planning with the folks who would represent the area as well as live in the area. I think this can be done a lot faster, and the folks won't feel offended because we got people from the outside telling us what we need in our neighborhoods. It just works that way. I'm not saying what you're saying is bad. I think this is a great plan. I like it. But include the folks that should be included. And also, a point of interest and also semantics order. This particular idea came through community relations. I don't see any reason why it should not be coupled with the park department or the parks committee, because everything we talked about had everything to do with the park committee. And I don't think that it serves good professional courtesy or just fluid conversation when it should probably got been in a park committee with a conversation versus a community relation. I know there's really bridges as far as financial support and teams, but it's a part matter. And because it's a part matter, it'll be a budgetary matter. So taking it out of the committee that it should be in to go into another committee just doesn't play well with professional courtesy as well as team building with the council. So those are my 2 cents. You have my full support in making it happen, but I just think that including the folks that should be included at the table needs to happen in order to make sure it's foolproof.
Councilmember Scott.
Thank you, Oliver, for bringing this forward and working with everybody here. I do need to concur with what Mr. Huff said. I think he hit a lot of very good points. So look forward to this. I think when the time is right, we talk about finances for this going further. The way we treat our ancestors say a lot about how we treat our president in the future.
Okay. At this time, we'd like to thank everyone, especially those who continuously give up their time to volunteer and to really go through the work that you've done so far. We've been talking about our city cemeteries for over a year, and when we did the tour, we were shocked. And I'd like to say my father's buried in the cemetery as well, so I look forward to the work that will be coming, and that we'll have a city cemetery that all of us can be proud of. And not only should we be proud of it, but it's a historical cemetery as well. And that's something that a lot of cities cannot say that they have in their city. So I look forward to the work that is before us. At this time, we'd like to entertain a motion regarding Resolution 13-40.
Just wanted to make sure for the record, I would like to, as a sponsor of this, would like to share with Dr. Varner when it comes down to the finances of any of this. I don't mind working along with you, Councilman Davis, your committee, when it comes down to that as we move forward the 5-year plan, the Park Committee. It originated in the Community Relations Committee, which I chair, because the Scholar Colfax originated in the Scholar Colfax whole day originated in the Community Relations Committee. Because Scholar Colfax, we were pushing that as a council, and there was no concern, no issue at that day. Dr. Fred Furlick and Councilwoman White, you were there with us. We were sitting up there at the time. All the council was invited. Everybody in the council, those of you who were there, the community was invited with thanks to the media and those who came. So everybody was there. Some couldn't make it, some there, but everybody was invited to participate in this whole day. I mean, our email came out there and everything else.
So all the committee chairs, everybody on this whole council, the mayor, everybody was invited. We went through committee after committee because we knew we had to do something in the city of South Bend as a community. That's why it's Community Relations Committee to kick it off. And so as a follow-up, like Steve Neiman said, we were sitting up there talking. I got the pictures of us. I sent some of it to all of y'all. And we said, we need to do something. And so this is a follow-up to our conversation that we had there. And of course, as we move forward, there are issues that will have to be dealt with in parks. There are issues that will have to be dealt with in finance. So I want to thank you and I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. We now entertain a motion regarding...
Motion of 1340.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Vorty?
Mr. Scott? Aye. Mr. Henry? Mrs. Shea?
Aye.
Dr. Furley?
Aye.
Dr. Varner?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Mr. Furlick?
Aye.
And Vice President Davis?
Aye.
That would be 8 ayes.
Thank you.
Resolution to continue bills 1341 and 1342 until July 8th.
So moved. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It is carried. 1343 is what we have. Thank you. Could Mr. Roddy read Bill 1343?
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a 5-year interlocal agreement by and between the City of South Bend, Indiana, and the St. Joseph County, Indiana, for EMS services during calendar years 2013 through 2017.
Do we have a presenter?
Committee report.
Committee report?
Yes, the Health and Public Safety Committee held a committee on Bill 13-43. We send this resolution to the council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you, Councilwoman White. Now we have our Chief of Fire. Could you please give us your report?
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, my name is Stephen Cox, Fire Chief, South Bend Fire Department, 1222 South Michigan Street. The resolution that's before you basically is an additional look at the contract agreement between the city and the county in regards to EMS services in unincorporated St. Joseph County. Basically, this contract was signed at the end of last year, whereupon two things happened. Number one was we found some clerical errors that needed to be addressed in the contract. Item number two is the Penn Fire Department out in the southeast corner of the county began providing service in that township. So it was no longer necessary for us to provide that service. So basically, we went to the city legal department. Assistant City Attorney Cheryl Green assisted us in being in touch with the county commissioners in order to fix those clerical errors and clarify the boundaries for which we will be serving in the unincorporated parts of the county. Basically, I just also wanted to touch base in letting you all know that the same agreement was approved by the county council already. And also, Cheryl Green has been in contact with your attorney in order to make sure clarifications and everything in regards to this particular contract were adequate. Also, there's no change in dollar amounts or the intent of the actual agreement due to this change.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our chief from the council? Seeing none, we will now move to public hearing. Anyone in the public would like to speak in favor of Bill 1343? Seeing none, anyone like to speak in opposition to Bill 1343? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. We're back in the public, in the council portion. Move the adoption of 1343.
Second.
Mr. Woody, would you please?
Mr. Henry Davis. Aye. Mrs. Shea.
Aye.
Dr. Varner.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Dr. Furley.
Aye.
Mr. Furley.
Aye.
And Mr. Scott. Aye. And finally, Vice President Davis.
Aye.
That would be 8 ayes.
Thank you. Should have noted, and you did note that already, Clerk Woody, that Councilman Dr. Fred Furlick is here. So thank you that he's been able to come.
Before we have our unfinished business and our new business, first reading. First reading?
Yes, you do.
That's what we have before we have that.
First reading, Bill 3013. First reading on a bill to vacate the following described property, streets and alleys in the area bounded by Chapel Street, High Street, and the railroad tracks.
Okay. Do we have Council President?
I'll move that Bill 3013 go to, Bill 3013 will be, Public Works and Vacation on July 8th for second and third reading.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. It's carried. Now, before we have that, on number 11 and 12, can our attorney just briefly share what unfinished and new business should be, just from her thoughts?
Unfinished business should be items that were unfinished from the last council meeting or any committee meeting chairs that had something relevant to city business.
Okay.
And with regard to new business, that would be again an upcoming, perhaps standing committee meeting that's coming, or something of interest that is of a public nature.
Okay. All right. Thank you. With that in mind, does anybody from the council, starting from my left to my right, have any unfinished business?
No.
Anybody from new business, starting from my right to my left, have any new business?
What, certainly.
Okay. Councilman Davis.
Really quick, I am, and I'm sure all of you have been paying attention to the news, my situation with the Southern Police Department came to somewhat of closure when myself and my father were exonerated for whatever reason. However, the problem still exists on why were we stopped, why we were handcuffed, why we were stopped at gunpoint. Within the next 48 hours, we will be filing a claim, or I don't necessarily think it would be a claim, we're going to ask for an investigation by Internal Affairs and hopefully by the Board of Public Safety about that matter. There were a number of civil rights laws stepped on, policy procedures were stepped on, and this just continues to go on. As I stated before in the newspapers, this situation obviously is a lot larger than Henry Davis Jr., although it did happen to me and my father. One thing I want us to recognize is that when I asked the fourth order of the Department of Justice investigation, I wasn't doing it to grandstand. I was doing it to show that there was an issue here in the city of South Bend. I was doing it because I cared about the city and the people that I do represent. I did it because there was so much unrest in the city at that current time. Well, fast forward to current date, we inject more steroids into that unrest by arresting someone who was trying to speak for the people who feel like they're being sidelined or being harassed or abused. So one thing that I'm going to encourage is that we can have a very progressive conversation about how we rid ourselves of these policies and these practices, or just this culture that many feel or is deemed to be inhumane. I don't know if it's a racial issue. I don't care if it's a racial issue. What I do care about is that we do good practice here in this city, and everyone is treated like a human being, regardless of what they look like, their skin tone, etc. And so, just as a warning, those things will be coming out, and I will be looking for a positive result out of that particular situation, because no one should feel like, or should be in a position where they feel like our public safety officers are their enemies, not their friends. And this is what continues to happen, continues to pop up, and obviously it happened to me. So, and if there's any more questions that need to be asked, I am free to answer those questions. If you want to look at the video, got that too. I'm sure you've probably seen it on the TV, and I also read it in the newspaper. But I'm going to tell you what, it didn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And my council colleagues, while we're doing budgeting, I think that you probably need to participate and look at what's actually happening here in this city. It just wasn't some hoax, some demonstration of, ignorance. is something that happens to somebody that's real life, that sits in here with you, that looks over the legislation and city trust here in the city. So with that, I digress, and good night.
Okay. Councilwoman Chair?
I'm fine, thank you.
No, sir. I would just like to share that you will be receiving from me some more updates regarding the vote centers. I've been attending the vote center meetings, and so there's a report I haven't gotten a chance to send off to you. They've been looking at different sites within the city of South Bend since our last meetings, and so I'll be updating you more. So that's something that all of us are very much interested in for ourselves, for our citizens, as they consider the possibility of 214. If they can't get 214, they have to be 215, so it'll be right on us. So we have to look at all those kind of things with the vote centers. At this time, that's all that I have regarding new business, and nobody else brings that. We will now move to the privilege of the floor. Privilege floor, each person has 3 minutes. Please state your name, your address, and then go ahead with the privilege floor. I ask Councilman Tim Scott to monitor the time for us. And we shall
give you a 30-second warning.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Good evening. My name is Cecil Eastman with a desk and a stapler on the 12th floor of this building. As somebody simply noted once, politics is the entertainment wing of the military-industrial complex. And if you guys are good theater, I would encourage you to pay close attention to your microphones, especially if I might ask Dr. Varner. You're very hard to hear. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
What did you say?
P.O. Box 735, South Bend, Indiana. I come before you tonight, I'm bringing up an issue that was brought to the city administration about 3 years ago, back in 2010. And I had asked some questions and tried to get with the mayor to find out who this company was that appeared here that was out putting these patches in our roads. I may have even spoke to the council about it at one point. Tonight I'm going to go ahead and give you a privilege of the floor because we're 3 years down the road. I see these same crews out patching the roads to nowhere. I talked to homeowners. I recorded homeowners. They've got patches in front of their house and they don't understand why this company is out there putting these, I don't know, they're about 5x7 patches in the road. You can watch them do this work and it looks beautiful. And you go back 3 to 4 months later and take a look at this patch and it's so thin that it's transparent. You can see literally through it down to the existing pavement that was there. And there's no potholes. There's nothing wrong with the pavement underneath except maybe a crack. And the crack starts way before their patch and continues way beyond their patch. So they're just putting this beautiful little black 5x7 square out there and covering the pavement. I did a little research on this company and I looked at the co-owners of this company and found out that one of them is Sam Hensley's stepson and one of them is Sam Hensley's son-in-law. And I just find it awful strange that this company is getting millions and millions of our tax dollars over the past several years to put these patches to nowhere. So I brought you a flash drive. I couldn't find a disc tonight. So you feel free to share this. There's several photos and videos of these patches when they were done. There's some video of the folks out there putting these patches in, and then there's video and photos 3 to 6 months later. I also brought a copy of a page from the minutes of the Public Works Board meeting where they were just awarded another contract recently. It doesn't have the amount, I'm not sure the amount, but I'm sure you can check the project number and find out what that is. But the amount over the 3 years that I've been stressing about this is multi-millions of dollars to this one company. And I think it needs to be investigated and find out what exactly they're patching and who's authorizing these patches to go in all over our city.
Thank you. Mr. Roddy.
Reverend Greg Brown, 1238 Diamond. I stand before the board. I put in the privilege of the floor concerning the mopeds. I see that we jumped over that tonight. Still having the moped problem. Mr. Scott, you out there, you see it. It's getting very bad out there. I was in Martin's supermarket parking lot and watched the lady get hit today by a moped. Why does it take so long to get something so needed, so long to happen? Does it mean we have to see this officer put a sheet over another kid before it's heard? When it comes to due process, you try to communicate. As you see all the stuff going on with the chief, there's a lot going on. But our due processes, you guys passed all these legislations and vote all this in, but it's not being enforced. Tax rebatements, we give them to them, A.J. Wright's law, Bosch leads, all these companies lead, and we're passing these legislations, and I'm just asking you guys, you did a fine job. Communication level with you guys is high, but it's not being enforced. So before you hit your hammer about giving these different budgets and giving them the money, I was at the public safety meeting and I heard the officer for Chief Teachman ask for $91,000 for 3 sets of cameras to go into a police car so they can ride up and down the parking lots or in areas to see if a car is stolen. We can't even catch a guy on a moped. So what we're going to do, put these cameras in cars, how is that going to help us? And then when they see a car that's stolen, we got a high-speed chase, and it endangers the community. What's endangering us is you stand out there at Measle Grove Park and see 2 kids with 2 bodies on the moped speeding through there by Holy Cross is having baseball practice. Help me out, City Council Board. Work with me. And I'm just asking that, you know, when it comes back, well, we're waiting on Teachman. If Chief Teachman is not going to sign off on this, and he don't roll with the city of South Bend, he just visiting anyway. We live here. Consider that. If he don't roll with the council board, then roll over him. Thank you.
Sandy Brown, 415 South Street, representing Simpson United for Better Government. I'm tired of getting bashed, so I'm going to start bashing back. Internal Affairs Director, or whatever he is, went out to King Center, did some investigation, went in over we have tapes and pictures of Teachman. I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway, they said that his report was that Sam Brown and Greg Brown is always starting some shit. I don't know what he meant by that. Then, it's a thing here, and it said that Greg Brown, Sam Brown, Jesse is the cause of South Bend going down. Okay, I don't know where to get this information. So we are driving people out of South Bend because of our comments and coming out and speaking. But I'm going to say this, Hall of Fame, never been in. Never been in. Eddie Watson came. Most famous black coach in the world. I cried because I figured it all the time. Because it was wrong the way they did it. Michigan, when they rerouted it, and the way they did it, it was wrong. It became a ghost town downtown. Which, really, and Sam probably was part of that. But all I'm saying is, I go up here every week and I listen to a lot of stuff that's going on and people talking about. But I'm going to say this. I'm not going to comment on this because this was done by a guy that rides a horse in the middle of the night with a hood over his head. My name is Samuel Bryan and I signed all documents. I put it in the record. I sent further one. And I tell my Dr. Further, I've known him over 40 years. True. But I put my name on that document. And I didn't just lie to somebody. I put Samuel L. Brown on that document. He wasn't happy about it, but that's the way he came to me and I signed it. And the police department, I said it in front of Teachman and everybody. We're not going to be bullied. We're not going to be antagonized. And when those cars come run up behind me, I'm going to do what the officer asks. Pull my bed over, license registration. I'm not going to be beat. 30 seconds, sir. I'm not going to be beat. You're fat, but you live. I'm not going to be attacked. I'm not going to be beat. And I'm not scared. True. You know, so we need to just do like I do. Sometimes I fall asleep. If you listen to my little sad speech, that's what we got to do. But nothing is happening to me. I ain't worried about that. I respect the police.
Time is up, sir.
Okay, thanks for your attention.
Oliver Jackson, I reside at 317 East Indiana on the southeast side. I am the founder of the Anti-Bullying Tour, which I teamed up with MTV. It's amazing that I travel around the country and I go to all these other cities and I go in these schools and I talk to different city councils, county council boards. We do a lot of preps, and when I come back home and I address the issue with the police department, Mr. Davis, I do know what you went through. I came back from New York 2 years ago when I was working for Sirius XM Radio, and I got pulled over. I had a local talented kid from South Bend, and I got handcuffed, slammed on the ground. The kid got taken to jail, but unfortunately they kind of realized who they was dealing with me. I'm media savvy. I'm all over the news, so try me if you want me. But we got a serious problem, folks. The anti-bullying is not just a school issue during the school year. It gets worse during the summer. I understand you are finally starting to enforce the curfew that's been passed. I've been living in the South End 17 years, something like that, a long time ago. But seriously, folks, everything starts within. If we got bad administrators on the police department, if we're hiring bad officers, okay, since I've been back here for the last 2 weeks, I got 2 tickets, $10 parking tickets, because I'm being profiled. I told that officer, you keep trying me if you want to, I will have you in court. But unfortunately, some of you will probably be in court too. I don't want to go that route. But we got a problem, folks. It's not the kids that bullying kids, the police department, the city administrators, the mayor, everybody. If nobody wants to look from within, it's going to get addressed. But it shouldn't take somebody getting hurt, somebody getting harassed. So seriously, all I ask you to do is look from within. I'm involved with the anti-bullying law that just got passed downstate. Now we're facing another problem. How do we enforce it? What does the city have? What are you guys doing? Not just for the kids, but within these departments. 30 seconds, sir. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, the meeting is adjourned. Let's see.